Wait, hold on. If you are not a part of the Pride Wave Patreon, join. Yes, I do have a Patreon. Come in. You can become a part of a free membership or you can be a part of a paid membership. Regardless, it supports the channel, it supports the community. You will be able to see things that you will not be able to see on other platforms. If you join, become a part of the Pride Wave community today. Now, I know what you might be wondering. Why does Cell Max need an explanation of his power prided? For many reasons due to how the fight had played out. Not only that, the actions that the characters took to defeat Cell Max. Therefore, I will be your informant today on elaborating how truly strong Cell Max really was. Keep a note in your mind throughout this entire video that this version of Cell Max design is always Toriyama's favorite, with a combination of a design, of course, with that of a kaiju. Dr. Hedo is an exceptional genius and prodigious heir to Dr. Gero within his family. Alright, he's into superheroes, cybernetic technology, and research of ETs, a scientist that's so advanced that he was able to create androids that could rival Goku and Vegeta. Alright, he also later went on to create the mindless, uncontrollable bio-android, Cell Max. Cell Max was a terrifying android that boasts monstrous ki that put everyone on Earth fall into despair when he was released. The very thing that Dr. Hedo feared himself, even though he secretly placed an emergency weak point inside his head, the core nucleus part of it. That says a lot about Cell Max's ability and process that he needed to be completely finished before he was released. That wasn't really the case though. Cell Max upon his release felt himself to be more alive and immediately needed to release all of his key energy, a dark pinkish star-like aura highlighted with shades of black that resembled negative energy. Alright, kind of similar in a way to like Omega Shinron, minus energy. Now that the monster has been released, everyone gathers like Power Rangers to take down the foe. This is where the many factors of the battle take a serious effect on Cell Max. Remember, this is Cell Max's first ever battle. Cell Max fighting style is pretty much him swatting with no coordination at the characters, like they are flies buzzing around him being annoying. He struggles to land attacks on Gohan and company, pretty much for he couldn't even consistently deal with a swarm of attacks from massively lower characters like Krillin, for example. Make note that the characters have far more experience in combat, so they were getting the complete better of Cell Max by attacking all at once, creating distractions, exploiting openings, utilizing his own size against him, even being attacked at his weak point by Ultimate Piccolo with a full power demon explosive wave. Despite the straight up speed difference he has between them, Cell Max had no realization of this just yet though. Until he starts to slowly adapt and gets more belligerent, Goten and Trunks knew it was necessary to fuse, but failed and ended up as fat tanks, where this is another attack from him where he actually is useful. He gets knocked around by everyone like a team passing a volleyball or a soccer ball around, striking the nucleus weak point of Cell Max again. And this time is straight up cracked. The next major blow he ends up taking is from an all-out Gamma 2 kamikaze suicide attack where he gave up his life in order to damage him. That generated so much energy, it just straight up broke his arm. Cell Max at the last second was able to react to this because he was distracted by Krillin using Taioken. And then on top of that, it never regenerated or recovered when the attack landed. It was all for naught in terms of Gamma 2 giving up his life. Mind you, he blocked the attack last second. Alright, so keep this in mind. All of this needs to be in mind. When you block it at the last second, it's lowering your defenses. Alright, you're reacting at the last second. It's like a blind spot. This is where the battle though gets very serious and taken up a notch. Cell Max's entire combat skill increased and he has better control of his strength. Alright, again, showing his adaptability is actively happening. We see him blitz the fighters and start slaughtering them, to the point Piccolo transforms to orange and he has to use gigantification. Alright, gigantification doesn't increase any power. When utilizing gigantification, it only just make you grow. So it's just giving off a perceivedness of, oh, he's gaining more strength or more power when he, grows giant. But really, in reality, there's nothing happening. It's just, he's just getting bigger, increasing his size. It shows how adaptable though Cell Max is starting to become. This is another battle within that we get to a more skilled fighter combating a much stronger foe when we get Cell Max and Orange Piccolo. And it starts off as seemingly as if they are equal, but we know they are not, as Cell Max start pummeling him so bad that Piccolo state that they have to rely on Ultimate Gohan's power, that he needs to charge up Ki and not hold back and unleash that into a blast strong enough to wipe him out. Now, in order to understand how strong this Gohan is, we must go back. Alright, this is where the true power of the Cell Max will be understood. In this video, you will understand this. It doesn't really matter if we use the anime or manga, because at this point, we can be comprehensive enough to understand the gap in between the powers that was going on to be. This is where we see the characters shine. This is where we see the big difference and drastic differences between characters. Alright, Gohan in anime continuity is directly stated to not have trained ever since the Tournament of Power ended. The movie was created to be a direct sequel after DBS Broly. This doesn't really conflict too much with the end goal of power they were trying to convey. In manga, we know, if you don't know this already, well, you will be knowing now. Spoiler alert, if you ain't read the manga, go read the manga. There were two arcs that happened in between the time period of Broly and Superhero. Those events being Moro and the Granola arc. The Dragon Ball Corps as a whole has acknowledged this. Alright, in fact, even putting the events in the anime movie guide recognizing it happened. So check this out. The movie team making a statement that Gohan has not trained since Tournament of Power ended doesn't necessarily mean he never did anything at all since Tournament of Power. It's just more in terms of getting stronger and being better than your past self and growing each and every day like Goku and Vegeta strive to do. Recognizing that's how their definition and context of training mean, even Piccolo trained all the time, not to the extent of Vegeta and Goku, but regularly and similarly. Therefore, this creates room for the arc to not conflict for the anime, which worked very fine. Why? Because Gohan only trained in preparation for an invasion from Moro in a short span of time. So Goku show up and recognize everything and everyone has made an improvement in some way. In fact, he didn't recognize most of the humans, but did recognize Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan. Now understand this is where it really starts to separate in terms of power. Piccolo, Ultimate Gohan, Android 17 and 18 and crew could not compare to a henchman called Sagambo. In fact, they paled in comparison in battle power to him. Goku had to take care of the fight, and this Goku was massively more powerful and far from Gohan and company. So far that Goku straight dominated Sagambo in this suppressed state in blue with no difficulty, completely outclassing him. That Sagambo even got several more amps of power from Moro, and even at the height of it, he still did not compare. Vegeta come back with a more polished spirit, which is a component of his overall ki, having balance and more control over his power, boosting his overall battle power. Alright, so however, though, this could not tell a difference with Vegeta, meaning it wasn't much significance like Goku in terms of overall battle power, but was enough to signify a difference. So much so that like Piccolo made the claim he surpassed Goku in skill just cause he attained Force Spirit Fission. Now that's a move where it's very advanced. Alright, you need to have high levels of spirit control in order to utilize that technique and learn the technique. Obviously we know Vegeta is a prodigy. Alright, Vegeta follows this up with, it's because I'm better than you, when he signifies and look at Goku when Goku recognizes the technique and he said he wasn't able to learn it. Alright, now there's a lot of different things that you can get into that, but it pretty much just shows that he's more gifted in combat as he was born as a battle prodigy. After all, you know, he had the second highest degree in Saiyan history behind Broly. Goku went on and got a couple power boosts later within the arc. Then you have the next arc that happened, which we know Goku and Vegeta get straight back into training, right back into it. Goku never take a break. Alright, he never takes a break. He continues to hone and further his Ultra instinct. He continues to hone and further increase his battle power, where Vegeta ends up attaining a new power from within by fighting the strongest power to help push and break free of his limits, having conquered his mind, freeing him from the constraints of his own limits. Alright, so they're always striving to get stronger. But it's so crazy because the significance is not that big of a deal as you would think. But when he releases his own limits and he isn't constrained and restrained anymore, he was able to free himself and unleash Ultra Ego Wagamama Go no Goku. Now realize Gohan isn't doing any training all during this time. Alright, Goku and Vegeta is just going crazy. They're training non-stop. They're literally fighting a being that actually wished for power. Alright, wished to be the strongest at this point in time. So, and Gohan ain't doing nothing. He's just pretty much educating. Throughout this arc, they evolve their power and break limits a lot though. Now, it's not as significant of a difference, like I said, as people may think from the tournament power, as Vegeta even compared himself more than once to the gods of destruction in this arc. So these boosts are big to us, the audience, but not to the characters themselves. Even after the arc straight into superhero, they never stopped training and been training even post superhero. Regardless, all of this is to say we know objectively that the comparisons made to Goku and Vegeta are coming from a place of ignorance from Piccolo and Gohan. They are just pretty much estimated guesses from past things from the last time they seen them. And even then, their gauge of power was off. Gravely off, as Moro showed everyone miscalculations of his own strength. Even the deity angel trainee Maris, you learn about him if you read the manga. Please go and read the Moral arc in the Dragon Ball Super manga. It is after the Tournament Power. It is really good. It is all by Toyo. It's really good. There are some things in there that I may not agree with or whatever, just because it's pretty much more of like a story element or whatever, but it is the best arc in Super. Alright, read that story. Read it. Mind you, they can't sense these characters with God Ki, Piccolo, and Gohan. So the comparisons would be drastically off until Beast Gohan appears. Now, we're getting right back on track into superhero. This is all to say that Cell Max and Orange Piccolo wasn't anywhere near another in power. It took an immeasurable level of rage and Saiyan instinct increase from Gohan to straight up no diff Cell Max. However though, was it actually a no diff? No. Well, in the manga that is. Gohan used the strongest special beam cannon that's ever been done. And we know the special beam cannon can extensively amplify the potency of an attack. Cell Max was so in disarray from Beast's power that he made a condensed and compacted key ball so potent that the very same Beast Gohan and that just dwarfed his power was now struggling in a beam clash with this same beam he just dwarfed. It was so intense that again, characters had to interfere and restrain him, even weakening him by slicing off his wing and knocking his already restrained arm away, alright, from the intense beam clash that already was happening in order for Gohan to win. This is an homage to Cell vs Team Gohan beam clash, but a lot more intense as Gohan is not weakened here. In fact, it was reversed, showing how much of a force Cell Max truly was. We know when having control over your ki is already greater than having no real level of control over your strength. Toriyama stated if Cell Max had a mind, which is a part of ki that make up overall battle power, then not even Broly could defeat Cell Max. Broly was directly compared to be probably greater in power than even Beerus. Therefore, we can conclude that at Broly best, which was Super Saiyan full power, which when it gets Gogeta Blue, he'd be stronger than Beerus. Meaning Cell Max potentially and possibly could have been stronger than even Beerus if he had a mind and control over his power. However, he did not. Therefore, the power we see was not greater than Broly's peak, meaning it would be less than Beerus due to being imbalanced and not complete, as the mind is a component of overall battle power. Yet he rivaled and even surpassed it when his life was on the line, hinting at the very power that Toriyama was talking about. Alright, we know this as Gohan post superhero a day later, literally, pushed Broly to attain Super Saiyan again. Broly power was not inferior to Gohan Beast. In fact, they directly state the only thing that's causing Gohan to be winning their spar is the fact that Gohan had control over his Beast power. But that ain't the only thing either. Gohan is also relative to Goku in combat skill, so there's a lot of points in that area for Gohan entirely. So we know Broly is stronger than Gohan Beast at his peak from a past arc, as this current Super Saiyan Broly is just an initial Super Saiyan trying to reach his peak again with his new level of increased base power, which would be greater than when he was last Super Saiyan full power if he was to go Super Saiyan full power in this current point in time. But that shows you the gap that Cell Max covered within that time frame as being a bio android created by a human with super intelligence on Earth. Cell Max deserves respect, alright, as he threatened the most populated planet within Universe 7 that has the most advanced mortals and lives in the entire universe, as we see in comparison to the others. It made and pushed the hybrid Saiyan with the most potential step up to save them and breaking through his Saiyan instincts to reach God level himself. If he would have failed, Earth would have been over. Goku, Broly, Vegeta, Whis, the gods, they all wouldn't have even known. And that would have ironically been by accident. Isn't that telling? Nevertheless, like the video if you did, dislike if you didn't. Thank you all for listening, and remember that Cell Max is no pushover.